Well, I won't be able to share my.
So- No, we can do that. How will we, yeah, you log in and take this one from him over to, over to.
I share it for mine. Because I have it right.
Log in, I'll just.
I'm already logged in. I'm here.
But I'm not sharing you.
Huh?
I'm not sharing you.
No.
Okay. I had a picture of it on the table back there. All right. Are there any visitors here today that we haven't had before? We have our guests. Anybody else? Kate, you want to introduce?
We'll do it.
You want to do that?
Why don't
before?
you guys introduce yourselves and we'll do that again when we do that.
I'm John Schlegel. This is my wife, Mary. And Katie twisted our arm to take the stuff down here to let everybody take a look at it, show, so.
Good. Well, thank you for
Mary?
coming and
Anything, Katie and I've known each other for a while. She was my director when I was a youth minister, so. But we've been able to remain in contact and friends, and yeah, so. John was doing this and then Katie started doing it, and I finally got her to come out. I said, come out and see what he's got. Then this happened. So, glad to be here.
we'll do a little larger introduction when we start.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, name tags, we got a few name tags here. Helen will read off the names just in case.
Is Kurt Sabowski here?
Yes.
Coming to you.
Oh, coming to.
I'm a new guy. I don't know.
And then we have an intake for Norm Martin,
I think he's here.
Paul Klein, and Carol Martin. No?
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Secretary's report, Steve, do you have anything to add to the paper?
Nothing new to add, it was fine, no changes were made.
Okay, thank you. Helen, your February report.
My February report had no activity on it, nothing changed in February, so we still have a balance of $3,540.16. And that's a petty cash.
Okay, our insurance is paid and our rent is paid.
Yeah.
Okay. The next leaders meeting at Creekside was scheduled probably for February, but they put it off a month. So that would make it March the 3rd before they'd have the next meeting. Well, that doesn't help us because we'll have our March meeting before they'll even have that. But there is a community information meeting. It'll be about the middle of February. And I'm gonna try to attend that and see if I can get a little more information. Maybe Katie, if you wanna come, or Warren, we'll go to that. But I think this is more open to the community. So it'll be more than just Creekside people. But at least we'll see what's going on over there. TLC toy report, Roger?
Yeah, last month we took in 162 cars. We ended up with 1,473 for the year. Paintables was 279 last month, and then for the total for the year is 2,474. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of patterns over there. Instead of cutting out the square for the peg to go in, we're going with a 5/16 hole, which really is gonna work a lot better. Like you can see it on the rabbits there anyways, and the angels. It's just easier to get that in there to stand them up.
Okay, you go in there?
Yep. Put a little glue in there.
All right. Don Gore, I don't think is here, so no state affair. Steve Harder, update on the woodcraft class.
Yeah, just talk a little bit about the woodcraft class. How many of you are familiar with the woodcraft store in Bloomington? Here, okay, it's a store that's pretty nearby. And they contacted us a few months ago and asked if we wanted to put on a class. And we're initially working with Ralph Truesdale, but he has, those responsibilities have gone to one of the co-owners of the store. Her name is Catherine Rossett. So I've been in contact with her, and I did send them more information at the end of December to advertise the class. But I just found out this past Monday, they forgot to put it into their computer and send it out with their papers. So they quick scrambled this past Monday and Tuesday and put it online. I called this morning and we don't have anybody signed up yet for the March 2nd class. But we're planning to go ahead with that class on March 2nd. We're going to have 4 scroll saws there. So if 4 people sign up, we'll be able to teach those 4 people. If we have probably 2 or less, we probably won't have a class. So we're just waiting to see.
Will you reschedule if the class doesn't go?
They are encouraging us to have a class even every 3 or 4 months. So if you look at their class schedule, they have classes scheduled almost every day of the week. They have a tremendous amount of classes there of different kinds, all kinds of things. And so when I said, well, we were going to have this March 2nd, she said, well, why don't you sign up for June? And I said, well, I think we have to bring this to our club and decide, do we really want to be involved with woodcraft, and how often do we want to be involved with them? And how what kind of resources do we have? Who's available to do that? So I guess I bring that to you today to see, do you think we are interested as the club, as a group, to teach at woodcraft more than once a year? We want to be there every 6 months or every 3 months? What do we want to do?
Well, when we were involved with them before, they were very helpful to us, and they would come and do presentations for us. And so I would go to do it at least more than once a year, maybe twice.
Let's see how it goes.
Can you ever make a suggestion?
Sure.
Awesome. Even if there are no people signing up, why not make it a demonstration and have exposure? Keep our footprint there. That way we're regular, once a year, twice a year, whatever it is. We just have the members of the people who are there helping the instruction demonstrate if there are no people to teach or to be taught.
Yeah.
Might be enough.
We've done that a lot. Yeah, I used to do that in Rockford too. Just schedule a class and
Yes.
everybody would show up. Just kind of wait.
Have you had any discussion relative to what the tuition would be for the class?
Yes, we had to set the price, and the average price there for a class is between $110, $120. And that's for like a 3-hour class. So that's pretty standard. I thought we should just stay sort of where other people were charging. And many of them then charge also for wood and supplies. So I put ours in as $120, but no extra charge for wood or supplies. And I saw
Use TLC materials?
I got wood from Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we got that, and Troy is going to supply at least three scroll saws, 2 scroll saws, 2 scroll saws.
And the instructor's fee, does that get paid to the club or does that go to woodcraft?
So those fees are split 50-50 between woodcraft and our club.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Building on what Katie was saying, maybe if the club's gonna do this on a regular basis, to get something kind of reciprocal going with them, where they either come in here once in a while, or maybe offer, gift cards or something that we can use as a prize. Something reciprocal where we're not just kind of making money for them.
Mm-hmm.
What they used to do for the barbers is they offered the barbers a 10% discount. I don't know if they do that with the scrollers or not.
Yeah,
They still do that, yeah.
they already do that.
All right, well, let's see how it goes. If we get 4 people and you have a class, okay. If we don't get anybody, then I don't know. I guess try it again in June or whenever. Not June? Not June. Well, whenever, but probably try it again sometime, maybe in the fall, and then
Sure.
see if anybody picks up on it. All right. Carl, do you want to comment on your updates to the Star Schlegel website?
People may have gotten an email notification about, being enrolled in a newsletter archive. But when I made some changes to the webpage, I thought I had this all set up in advance. Katie came in and said, I can't see the newsletters. Well, I set up the webpage so that, somehow it broke and I refixed it, reconnected it. If you log in and create an account with the same name that you're using, when you register or with Helen, I go in there periodically and look for new people that have logged in. I then flag you as a member, and you can see the archives under the file share. If you just log in and I don't notice it and you're looking for the archives, that means I haven't noticed you yet, so go ahead and send me an email and I'll get you logged in. That's how I control it. I figured that the newsletter is members only. Everything else in the file share is available, but I've got a way to flag it as a member only to see the archive. That I can use to actually expand that if I want to close things off from just members or keep it just members.
So when you go in there, the file share is off to the right.
Yep, up in the menus, you'll see a file share.
Click on
Yeah.
that, and then that should open
Yep.
everything below.
Yep.
And it has the newsletters, and there's a few other things that are in there, just pictures, some that I put in, some that other,
So a lot of the files here is TLC toy stuff.
yeah.
You know, they're downloadables. So when Roger comes up with some new ones, I put them up there and swap them out.
But all those old newsletters are in there, and if you click on the top, you can reverse it from oldest first to, reverse. So you can,
One of the things I used to do is send a couple newsletters out to people who visit. Does that not happen anymore?
No, we'll do that. I mean, we'll do that and, I'll send out a newsletter or we'll let Tiffany know and she'll send out one for just, somebody new that wants to see it. But after that, it's only getting sent out to the members only list.
yeah, so that kind of washes that away.
Well,
Because everything that's in the newsletter, you're getting.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
But are you still putting the Zoom meeting online?
Yeah, when I recorded,
Yeah,
I missed a meeting.
yeah. Well, all right. Any other questions? Yeah, feel free to go into the website. If you have any trouble, get hold of
So
Carl.
I think your point is that should the newsletters really be blocked?
If you have the patience to watch the whole recording for the meeting, that's.
I think they should be blocked. I think it's a good idea. There's some reason we pay dues, right?
Right, that's kind of my point. Yeah. Why do I have the YouTube videos open, right?
Yeah, I understand.
So,
Well, the thing is, the newsletters will, also have all our contact information in them.
yeah,
So.
Why are the meeting videos open to the public and not members only?
well, I guess I was going off of what the Woodworkers Guild does. It's all their meetings available. In fact, a lot of their website ideas, I took them and put them into our new website. All of their videos are out there. So I thought, well.
I don't think it's a bad idea on YouTube. They don't think that many views, but it's gonna give someone who's maybe interested an opportunity to see what we're all about. So I don't think we're gonna.
And I started doing the YouTube videos because I saw these guys with their, on the shop tours on the Woodworkers Guild website. YouTube video site.
And your videos or your newsletter contains, treasurer's report, right?
Yeah.
The financial condition of the club.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't have it.
It doesn't now.
Well, only in the minutes.
Yeah, it's not in the newsletter.
Okay, so that's,
It's out
that
in
was a
it,
concern. I don't think the public should see that.
but that's in the
It's on the
YouTube,
YouTube video.
that's in the YouTube videos.
So,
It's a mess, I know. Okay, what do you do?
I don't think it's anything critical.
Stop the recording.
Video is nothing like being at a meeting, and who's gonna sit there that long?
We did.
All right.
Yeah, we got somebody.
All right.
No, isn't, .org public anyway?
Yeah, websites there.
So I mean, what are we trying to hide secrets? You know,
It's not like we're giving up.
what secrets do we have?
Again, to Warren's point is that I was thinking that as a benefit, right? Getting the newsletter
Yeah.
and the information that coming from that is a member benefit.
Yeah, it's not trying to hide anything. It's just a matter of you're paying your dues. What do you get for, you know, what's as opposed to somebody who doesn't?
And I've thought about other things about what could be a member only privilege in the website that only members could get to.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Carl. Troy, you have a March program lined up.
We, John.
Well, Katie and I we discussed it, they'd asked us to do another Intarsia program, well, we're doing that today. And so today's, they're gonna go through the whole, how do you, sort of the general, how do you do it? And we thought, well, we'll follow that up with a Intarsia tips and tricks for better, getting more details in some of the trickier parts of it, rather than a general overview. So we're gonna do that. If the other Intarsia people are here and wanna add to it, we'd be happy to do that. I think we'll bring in some projects and talk about how we approach different things. And maybe some of the actual materials we use or, so anyway, we thought we've never done that before. We thought we'd try something different and those who are just starting and I know there are several new people who want to get into it and it may be helpful. So that's our plan. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
Well, everybody does things a little differently, and so if you have done art in Tarja, think about your own style and what you like to do and be prepared to talk about it. Or bring stuff, bring what you've done.
Right. Sounds good. Any other items or questions anybody has?
I have a couple things. One, I was to Rockler this week and bought quite a bit of stuff. And for the first time, they really nailed me on having the card with.
Yeah.
They said it's policy now, and this is the manager who knows me. I've been there for many demos over the years. Matter of fact, he even asked me about North Star Scrolling. So he knows I'm a member, but he was dragging his feet about giving me the discount because I'm not in the system. I think once you give them the card, they put you in the system, then I don't even need a card for another year. So I don't know. Bring your card. They're trying to, 10%, you know, it's pretty good. So,
Yeah.
so just warning everybody, I never carried one, so. So you, you wear your hat. But maybe the next guy who takes care of you will just, you tell him you remember and they give this guy, I don't know, but he was pretty,
Once you give them the card, you put it in the system.
Yeah.
And then after that, it comes up
yeah,
automatically.
so be prepared.
I've had problems with that though, because I've gone to so many different Rockford places, not just one here. And they'll say, I can't find you. Well, I might be in the Mankato store, I might be in Sioux Falls store, I might be. And so then it's like, well, you know, I do buy at Rockler and I am a member of North Star Strollers. My name should be in there, but almost every time I go in and buy something, they say your name's not in here. It's like, okay.
So when you read up for your dues, make sure you get a new card from Helen.
Yeah, hang on to your card. All right, anything else? Look good?
Well, I've got a couple of, okay, so for March, we're good. I'm working on April and May. I'm trying to get some special speakers and stuff like that, but if anyone's got any ideas, things you'd like to see, or maybe you have somebody, you know of someone who we could have as a guest, please just reach out to me and let me know. I'm willing to take whatever you got. But I'm sure you guys get tired of seeing me stand up there and talk, so if you want to see someone else, certainly, or if you have any ideas what you'd like to cover. In addition, just in case anyone's looking for a scroll saw, I do have 2 that I'm selling. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And then everyone kept asking me, "Do you have a card? Do you have a card?" So I made up cards. So if you if you have scroll saw you need repair, if you have questions about repairing scroll saw, or if you want to buy a scroll saw, take a card, you can contact me, we want to get out here, because I do repair them. Like I said, I do have two, so things is interested. It's not like a pressure thing, it's just letting you know. I have 5 right now, I need to make some room, so.
Yeah, your wife is probably wanting that 1 or 2 out of there, right?
Not really, it's my shop, so I can do whatever I want. I'm running out of room.
All right. Well, thank you, Troy, and if anybody's got any ideas, get a hold of Troy, let him know. And we may get some outside, person like Woodcraft or Rock or
I've been
something.
reaching out to a few, I found this really interesting scroll saw out of Pennsylvania, who does some really neat stuff. I contacted her, but she's not gonna be available till the fall, so I'm trying to get her in the fall.
Yeah.
Over Zoom.
Right? Okay, next thing, the March election. I'm assuming that most of the officers will run again, but if anybody's interested, let us know or let me know. Helen, are you considering it?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
If somebody else wants the job, speak up.
All right, so give that some thought. Being a treasurer isn't too bad.
No, it isn't bad at all. Takes a little time each month. I'm so far from US Bank, but sometimes that's been tricky.
Yeah,
But, so if you're in the cities or something, that'd be easier to do. But other than that, it takes very little time each month. So,
okay. Any other officers will probably continue ahead here. Troy would be probably the next president.
Yeah, voluntold.
If I moved on, but at any rate,
Well, anyone wants a vice president, you can certainly have. I don't, it's not bad, it's fine. It's just a little bit of work figuring out the presentation every month.
vice president has to get the presentation, and the president has to hold the meeting, and you get all the emails and all the stuff, but, you know, none of it's really too bad, so. And Steve is doing a good job, and you'd do it again.
I'll do it again.
Okay, so this year we're probably okay, but next year, let's think about.
We're never okay. We always want new people to step forward if they want, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's, one thing nice, we've been here 16 years, we've really had a good group of people over the years take on these jobs, and the club's still growing and thriving, so. If anybody's interested, talk to me, Katie, Warren, any of us who've been part of this. And, you know, think about it, you know, a lot of people have done lots of things in their lives and step forward. Some of us came in and were member right, or, you know, on the board right away, so ones have been there, all been there 2 years now, I can kind of think about moving on.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think my view is everyone needs to do their part, that stepping up is part of being a member. And it's very fun. You know, the more you know, the more you get involved, the more fun it is, the better the club is. And we need some creative ideas, and I know you all have them.
Well, we have good volunteer participation from this club. I mean, I'm proud of all the work we've done, the work we do for TLC and our the Christmas sale there was a total success. So we've really done pretty well. So, and if anybody wants to volunteer for an office or run, the old officer will certainly help you out. I'll give anybody all the information I have, all the things I do, and you can just work off of that. I mean, I have pictures, I've saved all the newsletters, and all the other officers that do the same, so. All right, give it some thought. All right, next thing, I decided we should have a tip of the day.
Oh, again,
So I'm
yay.
originating the tip of the day, and the first tip will be with blue painter's tape. This stuff is always handy for something. And my tip is, if you have a project that you just finished up and you want to mark it and put a hole in it to hang it, say, in the back, and you forgot to do that, don't go mark it on the wood. You take some of this tape and put that on the wood, and then you put your mark on there. Then you just peel it off. Also, if you want to use this to hang a picture for your wife, you put this on the wall where she thinks she wants the picture. And then When she moves it 2 minutes later, you just peel the side, move it over and make another mark, but you haven't marked up your wall. So that will save you some time and effort. And I saw another one on YouTube. This guy said, he had a way to, on a gallon jug of paint, you go to pour that thing out. And of course, what's the first thing that happens? It gets in that rim and then you take your brush and you mark it around. Pretty soon it's halfway around. Now you put the top back on and it's stuck. So he said, take some of this, put this on the top of the rim about halfway around. Now, when you pour the paint out, it just pours out like sort of a spout. Now, I haven't tried that, so I don't know, but it seemed like a good idea. So that's my tips of the day. If anybody else has something, we don't want to go on for 10 minutes, but just, you know, a short tip. No tip? You have a tip?
I want to expand on your gallon of paint thing. The metal cans, not the plastic one.
Yeah, the metal.
My mom taught me that you take a little finish nail, you pop a hole in the bottom of that valve.
Yeah.
And the paint, or the varnish
Back
will
down.
drip down in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little tool you can get that do that.
What's that?
There's a little tool you get that opens the can.
Oh,
and a
sure.
little point that for putting that little dent in there.
But
Well,
you're
it's
saying
meant to,
put a
that's why-
little hole in
Yeah.
that rim,
Yeah,
In
there's,
in the valley, but yes.
right? in the
yeah,
bottom.
there's some openers where it looks like kind of like a spoon. And you open the
Yeah.
can and then there's a little hook and a little point and you
Oh,
push
sure.
it and it pops a hole in that little
We
valve.
have that too?
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Called a nail.
Yes, exactly. Plenty of them.
Okay, well, usually I just run it all down with that paintbrush, I got a big mess. I'm going, geez, there must be a better way to do this. So, all right, anybody else have a tip? Okay, but think of a tip, you know.
I got a tip.
Carol's
The
got
lesson, the lesson learned. I was control sign this project here. And all of a sudden, my new Pegasus started vibrating in daylights. And I'm looking around trying to figure it out. I finally called Vegas Tech for it. And the guy said, well, it's usually the tensioning on. Did you check to make sure that the height in the back is the same as the height in the front? And I did, took a ruler and measured that. When I woke up, I went over to Steve's to look at his saw, and his saw was just smooth as the daylight. So I'm going, it can't be busted. The bearing can't be bad already. It's a brand new saw. And I Texas Works to make sure it's there. And I went, and so I looked at it and it was just fine. Looked at it using a ruler. Woke up Wednesday morning and I went, I took that. I got the full square, brought it up to the front, raised it up to the top, right up to it touched the bottom of the front of the saw and tightened that bolt down, slid that thing back, sure enough, there was a gap. I could see it. I couldn't see it with a ruler. That T-square did that. I tightened that tension thing up.
Yeah.
Working smooth as the daylight. So if you're trying to adjust that arm, which Troy's talked many times about adjusting that arm, making sure that that arm is straight, that T-square works just slick.
So it's gotta be level.
It's gotta
It's
be
gotta
level.
be level.
Yep, it's gotta be level.
All right, good
Lesson
tip,
learned, yeah.
good tip. Okay. Well, let's move on to show and tell. I'll go first, I guess. I made this horse out of a piece of live edge that Gary had gotten for us.
Nice.
And, I don't know, just kind of like that design, and so I put that on and just covered it with clear polyurethane. One other item. Here's I complained, you know, why don't they make something so that you can use these 5-inch discs on your random orbital cylinder. And I complained that I was gonna build something and I was never able to find some of that hook and loop material big enough to make it. So a few weeks ago, I decided, well, I'm gonna look again, see, and I started looking, well, heck, Amazon has these. You can get 2 of these for about a little over $10. I mean, it's dirt cheap. These are soft. Maybe I just pass them around here. You can kind of feel it. And you just take your hook and loop piece and hook it on here. You know, you got an old worn out one, works real good because they're usually still good in the middle. And they're kind of soft, but they're not soft, but they got a little give to them. So I especially like that mouse pad looking one for doing the edge of something, because you always get, you know, rough along the edges, and that puts a real nice edge. Not like a piece of wood that's harder than hell. This is kind of soft, so take a look at that. And if anybody doesn't have Amazon, because they always charge you shipping, and those are only $10, and I think you gotta spend 25 bucks, then you get free shipping. If anybody wanted a set of that, let me know, because we have the Amazon Prime, and I would order that, and you could just pay me for it, so.
I think I saw them at Rockler the other day.
Yeah, I think Rockler has them too, and they're a little more expensive, but you could go get them at Rockler.
What are they called? What do they use?
Well, they're called a sanding block. Sanding block. So if you go into Amazon, just look up sanding block, and it should come up there. And this was nice because it came in a little box, 2 of them, so. All right, I think I'm done. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Show and tell.
So while I was, dealing with my pages, actually beforehand, this was in the latest, Scroll Saw magazine. And it, they suggested using spiral blades. And I bought some spiral blades just to try it. I've heard a lot of people complain that they don't like the spiral blades. So I said, well, I had some bigger patterns and this was a smaller one. So I figured, well, let's try that out. So the first thing I did was make a little sample here so I could play with it. I didn't want to start on the big one and find out that I hated them too, right? So I started with this and did some practicing. This is Rabbit version 1. The reason why I call it version 1 is that I got all the way through, peeled the paper off, and there were fractures all over in the plywood. Well, then I looked at the side and it said, oh, it's 2-ply. It's not Baltic birch. So then version 2 was with Baltic birch, and it did a much better job because the plies were more stable. So what did I think about the spiral blades? At first, it was really tricky, and it tended to leave more fuzzies on it, on the front and the back. But with the Baltic birch, it wasn't that bad, you know, with a little bit of sanding, maybe a little bit of filing with some small files, I was able to do that. I got really comfortable with it. It was kind of like drawing. You're moving around. I did rotate the piece a little bit because sometimes, you know, you couldn't see the line, so you had to rotate it so you could see the lines better. So I did wind up rotating the pattern frequently, but a lot of times just going around like this with a spiral blade, I was actually having a lot of fun with it. So I intend to do some more projects with that. So spiral blades.
Did you end up adjusting the tension from normal blade to spiral blade?
No. The only thing, and I talked with the guy, when I was talking with the guy about the Vegas guy, I said, you know, the spiral blades, it doesn't really have, it's not flat all the way up to the top. So I was crimping it when I would clamp it in, and I'd pull that blade out and it'd be all bent. Well, he says, take a pliers and press it down where you're going to clamp it and to flatten it a little bit, right? And so I'm going to try that the next time I do the blades and stuff like that.
Flying Dutchman has a new spiral spiral that is a reverse.
Oh,
So it should help with the fuzzy.
well, I used the modified geometry, which I was doing with the regular blades, which I thought was pretty good. But I had two autos, which I could break the daylights out of it. So I talked to the mates. Loosened it up, tension. He says, but also to with those modified geometries, they're hardened steel. They're to make them sharp. He says, so the first time that you put that in and do the tensioning, do it really slow. After that, you should kind of break that blade in so that it's not going to snap. So the 2 autos, I did that, and then I had some 5s, but some of these holes were pretty small. Found out that I had some Olsen spiral blades, number 2. So that's what I wound up using most of the time, and it didn't leave so many fuzzies. I thought I was really impressed. It'd be interesting to do this outside of the plywood, and do it in a regular, regular hardboard. But I like the spiral blades, do some more.
All right, thanks, Carl.
Yeah, Roger.
I do have some good, Baltic plywood out there.
I'm still up there.
So I got a little live edge project here too, and just, been wondering what I can do with some of these smaller pieces, and I got this largemouth bass.
Since we're here, if I take a picture of you with the, yeah, it doesn't come out. Yeah, the color comes out terrible. There you go.
Anyway, this is off a Steve Good pattern of largemouth bass, and I just reduced it by about 70% or something like that to fit it on here. And okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but so my grandkids come over and they have their little hooks inside the closet to hang their jackets on or whatever. And I started out quite a while ago, my oldest grandson put his name by his hook, and now he's taller than I am, so he doesn't need the hook anymore. There was too many kids and I got too many grandkids. But anyway, so Ethan is 3 years old, and I made this little choo-choo train here with his name on it to put there. And I used the same double back tape to hold it next to the hook, And I wasn't gonna bring this in for show and tell, but this morning I got up and I was putting my coat on and I noticed this was on the floor. So I'll bring it in for show and tell. Gotta re-secure that with some other double back tape. That's all I have.
Thank you, Warren.
Here. Elmer?
Did you do each one of those little pieces individually
Yeah.
and then glue it together?
Since it's getting close to Valentine's Day, about 5 years ago, I made up one of these for each of my grandkids, little bear holding a heart. It's like 62 or 64 pieces out of 1/8 inch plywood. And in the pattern, there's a hole going through here, here, and here with a dowel in it to where each piece slips in, and that's what holds them all into place. The only ones you have to really line up are like the very end ones. But it was just kind of something I thought was interesting, and it was just took a lot of time to cut everything out and put it together, but the end result was satisfactory for me, so.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Is that it for show and tell?
Whose cross is that?
Well, that was left over from the meeting they had.
Oh.
All right. No, not mine. All right, so let's take a 10-minute break, go around and look at all the names John made, and then we'll have the presentation.
Okay.
10-minute break.
I'll get started.
Okay,
Yeah.
Katie will take over here and do the introductions.
Unless you had something for you.
No.
Well, there's so many new people, but not a lot of the new people are here. So I thought I'd just introduce myself because there's so many. I used to know every face, but I don't anymore. So I'm Katie McBride. I've been with North Stars Scrollers since 2011. We started in 2009, right? So I'm officially an old cadger. I like that. And I met our featured artist, John Schlegel, today in the late 70s when Mary came to work for me at the Archdiocese. And I was at their house. I saw something on the wall. It wasn't out of Intarsia because he hadn't been doing that yet. But it was kind of like a shadow box thing. And I just looked at it and I said, oh, I would just love to be able to do that. It was made out of wood. It was a little like a scene of some sort. And so I just went on my way and flash forward to last summer. Mary told me that he was having a sale in his backyard. So wouldn't you stop by? And they live in Rogers, and that's on the way to the lake, so I did. And this is what I ran into. If it was like, oh, come on.
I know you know how to do it. You did the slide presentation for Man Alive.
Here we go. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, starting there. John, how did your sale go?
Really well.
Did you sell any?
Oh, yeah.
Big, small?
Sold probably 3/4 of what I had out there.
Holy mackerel.
Big and small, yeah.
How often do you do that?
I retired in 2019 in November, right before COVID hit. So I had 2 years to build up some more stuff. So my kids wanted to make a website. Well, then I don't want to do that because now I got to worry about trying to ship it and all that. I said, let me just set up in the driveway. So it was 2022 is the first sale I had out in the driveway. And I've done it every year now in August since then. I'm going to try to set up a few more months, with the weather and stuff. So, but I had it the last 3 years in August, and yeah, I've sold out just about 3/4 each year of the stuff that I had made over the winter.
You sold this one, right?
Yeah, I just sold that one not too long ago.
And what happened to it?
I had that on that easel. And I only had one brick holding it, and wind took it over.
Oh, no.
But the guy had seen it before it went over, and I showed him what I had to repair, and he was still fine with the repairs I had made to it and stuff. And so I gave him a discounted price because it got marked up. But yeah, he bought that from me even after it went over on the easel.
Okay, so obviously I was just blown away because from this teeny little thing on the wall, you could see that of course, I invited myself back. So I could see his shop. And once again, oh, come on.
This one here that dragon has 600 pieces in it.
Holy mackerel. You want to look
Oh,
at it again?
that's
Did you have more to say?
Good photo of both of us, thank you.
I invited myself back to see his shop and I was once again amazed. Can you tell us about the shop, John, and where it came from? What's its history?
Just south of me, there was a guy that had a summer cottage that he lived in Minneapolis, and he came out there and spent 2 or 3 months in the summer. Well, he had passed away, and I just happened to know the relatives of him, and they were gonna tear it down. I said, well, I'll tear it down for you. So I flipped all the walls, took all the rafters out, flipped all the walls down, and I knew good friends he owned the John Deere dealership that had a big forklift. So I just flipped the walls onto the forks, because they're big enough to lift up combines. So these are big forklifts. And hauled it all over and reset it up on my yard.
About 2 blocks from our
Yeah,
house.
And it's amazing. So how did you get started in Intarsia then?
In the Wood magazine in 88 or 89, there was they did that featured article on Judy Gale Roberts.
Yeah.
And it had in there, she had their little hoot owl pattern. And I did that one and just fell in love with it. Because I've always tried to, I see things 3-dimensionally like this, but to carve it, I never get the whole thing right. So I found this art form, I just fell in love with it. And everything exploded from there on. This is one of my first pieces after doing with Judy. That was a long stitch pattern that my sister Julie, or Patty, had. Or no, it's Kyle, that's right, Kyle. And so I went and blew it up and stuff a little bit, and I made that. So I got it hanging in my shop. Judy wanted me to bring that, or Katie wanted me to bring that, but yeah, just too many little fragile pieces in it. But, I learned quite a bit. That was in 89 or 90 when I made that, and you could see I kind of improved a little
Yeah,
bit
that's-
since then.
That was the drawing that he made it off of, the
Yeah.
pattern that Kyle had.
Using the colors that helped you choose the wood?
Well, that, just to separate the pieces in my,
Yeah,
when I was looking,
yeah.
to trace it out. Back then, we were still tracing carbon paper onto the wood.
Yeah.
So it was, you were at the mercy of the, pen moving on the wood grain of the next piece.
So speaking of patterns, when he opened up, when he went looking for a pattern, I saw that, I went, John, can you make me one of those?
Oh,
These are just some
his drafting table.
drafting drawers. When, the company I worked for went all computerized, they got rid of all the paper drawings, and so then I purchased their drafting drawers from them. So I've got 2 sets of nice oak drafting drawers where I can store all my drawings.
What did you used to do?
I was a systems designer / fabricator. So I sat in front of a computer for 8, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, designing up components. The last 3 years I was there, I exclusively worked on systems for SpaceX. I designed up the test panel to test all the steering rockets on the space capsules. And there's up to 57 motors on those space capsules, and we made up all the test panels for them to test all those motors.
So we're gonna go through the process of doing an Intarsia project. And what I know is you became friends with Judy over the phone, right?
Yep.
Pretty close friends. So how do you get started on how do you start your projects?
Just what piece I'm gonna work on, and then probably takes me an hour sometimes to dig through all my stash of wood to come up with the right wood grains and the right colors that I wanna do, so.
And like Judy Gale Roberts, you really liked Western Red Cedar. Why?
It's very soft to work with. It cuts, because of the soft wood grain, it cuts really well. And the color variations and the wood grain, just so many variations in the wood coloring and the wood grain itself to add more 3 dimension to it.
And then what happened, Mary?
When he almost
Western
killed,
Red Cedar.
huh?
Western Red Cedar.
When he almost killed me. I'm deathly allergic to it. And he was recovering from surgery, so he was upstairs in the loft. And I was downstairs sleeping, sitting up, trying to breathe. So,
It's just the dust, the oil
Yeah.
and the dust she's allergic to. Once it's
so,
it's just a bare piece of wood she's fine, or if it's sealed, but if the dust in the air, the oil.
yeah. So when he works with it, I stay out of the shop a lot, but,
Which is kind of nice.
yeah. Well, you're in the shop and I've got the house.
So how did you discover exotic woods?
Once I retired and was getting into the art form more, went to Rockler and found all these different variations of exotic woods and stuff. And then noticed in some of Judy's patterns, she was starting to call out what types of wood she was using too, rather than just, dark, light, or white or red. She was calling out, excuse me, what types of wood she was actually using, so.
He kept pulling these out. Do you have a favorite?
I've used a lot of mahogany. To the mahogany, I go from reds to pinks to light browns in the grain, and the mahogany cuts really good too. I just recently found the Peruvian walnut, which is really nice, even black color to it. where the black walnut, you'll get your darks and light colors in it. So the Peruvian really, keeps a nice consistent dark color to it.
What do you have over there that's got Peruvian in it? Which
Yeah, I'd have to go look what has.
Go ahead. I'm wondering if it's that. You might not have one, I just thought you might.
Just trying to think what piece of leg, with a bigger piece you can see.
I love to bring a piece of wood in and go, what is this? People ask me and I go, I'll take it home, I'll find out what it is, but.
Oh, that's okay. We'll move on.
Yeah,
So where do you get your wood?
I've been getting most of it from Rockler right now.
This is only a little bit of the wood that he has.
My color palettes.
Oh,
And I got totes with aspen and mahogany and different totes and stuff. I get a whole bunch of darker walnut and stuff, I'll put it in a tote, keep it together and stuff.
Where do you get your cedar?
Menards. Most of the cedar I got here is from a fence I tore down in, town. He had a swimming pool, so he had, probably almost 100 feet of cedar fencing that they were just gonna haul away in dump trucks. And I caught word of it through the city and I went down and took all the fence down.
So you've chosen your project and you've got your pattern. How do you, apply your pattern? What do you go about with the cutting and copying and cutting up the pattern?
Just a cutout. Cut out these sections of the pattern and then I use that 3M 77 spray and just spray the back of the paper and then I can position it on the wood.
And how do you know how to position it?
Well, I can follow the wood grain, but arrows, some of the patterns have arrows, but I know which direction the wood's supposed to go and stuff, but just doing it now so many years, you kind of know, where the arm is gonna come out or something, you want the wood grain to go that direction, add more three-dimensional to it.
Right. Most patterns also suggest colors, like
Right.
medium light or dark or white, things like that.
Where do you primarily get your patterns?
Judy Dale Roberts, Kathy Wise. Pardon?
Teddy bear?
Wooden teddy bear. The Sawbird, SAW bird. There's a couple other ones too, that they just, Google Intarsia. And, there's 5 or 6 main artists that come up. Songbird.
Unless you're purchasing a pattern from someone. Most of us only have 8.5 by 11 printers and copiers and things. Is there a drawback or a downside or a difficulty in doing like some of these larger things that aren't gonna fit on an 8.5 by 11 or how does that work?
Well, my copier, I can enlarge or reduce, I decide. But I just, if it's a bigger pattern, I'll copy it and then move it over, copy, and then I can tape them together.
Okay.
You can also go to FedEx office.
Yeah.
A larger format copy.
Like a blueprint printer.
Yeah, but they'll have like blueprint, like a plotter.
Okay,
I've done that with some, I actually patterns that are really large.
okay,
And you bring them, it's not that expensive, you just want a black and white copy.
yeah.
And you can either have it on USB, like a PDF, something they can print it, or you can do an actual physical copy.
Nice.
Do you, do your own patterns or make major enhancements to whatever patterns you pick up?
Yeah, the big dragon is one of my patterns. And then I've got, even though I worked on an AutoCAD system for over 30 years, I can't draw.
But you know,
So-
I use them all.
I mean, I could draw a straight line and that's about it. But to draw something, and I wish I could be able to draw, but I can't draw. So,
Yeah, he had a custom piece someone wanted, and it was their dog that had passed away. And I worked with TJ, and he said, can John make this? I want 2 of them, one for each of his kids. So I had pictures and John looked at it, and I hunted, finally found a tattoo artist that could help draw it so that John then had a pattern to go off of. So it worked out nice. The tattoo place I went to, they had an artist that could do that, and so we got together with him. And
to draw it up into this, this
Yeah.
format.
and it looked like their dog Maddie when we were done, and the kids loved them, and so they were quite pleased. But yeah, that's where it gets tricky. It's like, you want me to draw? And his whole family is artistic,
Yeah.
but none of them, only one of them draws.
You have your own CNC machine?
No, I don't. Everything's cut on a scroll saw.
Do they have like line art apps or computer programs you can take a photograph and change it to a line art to scroll from? Is that what people are doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly one.
It is a thing?
Yeah, so DIMP.
Yeah, the tattoo artists that we went to, they had a thing
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, but it didn't segment it out.
Oh,
Sure.
Can't say the word. It'll make segments of it.
They know.
Yeah, GIMP is really useful. You want to take a picture, like you saw the bunny that Carl did, for doing that stuff. It'll let you do a negative, so you can change the positive to negative, and you can, manipulate it to get it the way you want.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do something like that, GIMP is a free program that works really good.
XGIMP,
But that,
XGIMP?
just GIMP.
GIMP.
So how do you get such a tight fit?
Just really, really take your time and in cutting, stay on that line. I do 90% of what I do with I'm a machinist, so I use a 13,000ths big blade, which I think is their number
Three.
5.
3 or 5?
3 or 5, yeah. Between the 15,000ths and 13,000ths, they're both online blades that I get through Judy. I can't figure it out. I can't get the 15,000ths to cut. So and I mean, there's only 2,000ths difference between the two, but the 13,000ths just really, really cuts good. It's the way when they press them to cut the kerf on it or something, but I have not had good luck with the 15,000ths in cutting. I mean, they cut, but not like the 13,000. So I use that really thin blade. And on the fine line patterns, I mean, if you stay on that line, you could almost, under the magnifying glass, you can see a little bit of the black line on each side of that blade. And so that really helps to take your time in cutting, because it really helps in the long run when you're all done to get everything back together.
So do you ever have to correct a bad fit?
Oh, yeah, I go in
How do
with.
you do that?
I can hold it up to the light with the 2 pieces together and I see, oh, it's hitting right there. So I've just taken a Dremel or sandpaper and keep filing that one high spot down until they line back up together.
Okay, you already talked about your blades, but when I was there, you had all those platters of 4 of everything. What's up with that?
4 of everything?
Yeah,
Well, because I'm selling this stuff.
so every time you do one, you do 4?
On the smaller pieces, yeah, I do 4 to 6 at a time, yeah.
Do you stack or is that cheating?
Pardon?
Do you stack?
No.
Okay.
It's not cheating, it just doesn't work.
You would never get the fit you want if you staff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Blade wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, who, do you know what this is? Anybody?
It's a rooster.
No,
With a ring.
the other, on the left.
On the left.
those are shelves full of projects that have been cut.
And he
But not
hasn't
yet.
gotten that,
Not finished.
that dragon you saw sat in the drawer for what? How many years?
Oh, about a year,
Year
off
or
and
so?
on, yeah.
Off and on, he,
'Cause
yeah.
before I retired, I was just doing that in evenings and weekends, so,
Well, when I looked at, I counted 12 of these cupboards
yeah.
Oh.
and they're all full. Is that
Well,
incredible?
because I got all my wood colors all spread out and stuff, so when I got the white, I could cut them all out. So yeah, I'll spend days and days cutting.
So, move on then to sanding. Oops, I thought I did.
Yeah, it was there.
There you go.
Sanding and contouring. What,
Because I do so many at one time and I shape them all, I have no fingerprints. So I tried different thumb cards and all of that, but what I found out works the best for me. Cause I cut them in 3-inch strips, 1 inch by 3, and fold them in half. So your sandpaper is rubbing against your finger. So I take those really light brown gloves, put that on, and then I use white electrical tape, and I tape over that glove, and then I'll cut the glove off, and then so I can slip it on and off. Cause yeah, even the glove, after just even try just use the glove, I'll wear right through the glove. And sanding,
so you do a lot of hand sanding,
yeah,
mostly for the small ones, huh?
yep.
Yeah.
Well, once I get it shaped, everything gets sanded down to 220.
And so what power devices do you use? What do you like best?
Yeah, this is what I use on probably 80% of what I do in shaping, the Dremel 370 or 332. Cause it's got a 4 or 5 inch long shaft. So when you grab that, it's just like having a carving tool. It's like a pencil, so it's right there. So that's what I do for 90% of the shaping is on with that Dremel and a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch Dremel.
Shaping as far as fitting pieces together or contouring?
Contouring.
Okay. Contouring.
And well, like I said, if you got a high spot, I can just hit it with that Dremel just a little bit
Okay.
to pull it together.
Is that a hard sander, on the Dremel? Is it hard or is it soft?
It's a soft rubber.
Soft rubber.
Flexible?
So these small pieces like that would be what you'd be doing with your thumb.
Yeah,
The final sand, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I rough shape everything with a 60 grit. And then I'll, go back over it with a, 120 to get the big scratches out and then hand sand everything with a 220 after that.
So you use other power devices for sanding.
Yep.
What do you use these for?
Well, this is my big time saver. I can take up to 36 inches wide on that. Cause it's open ended, so you beat it through. That I mainly, for the rough sod cedar, I can run it through that it's sandpaper. Run it through that to get everything, just to get all the rough sodness off of it. I got 12-inch disc sander I can use to do some rough shaping or square some stuff up. And then I got the 4x9 drum sander. Where I can, if I got a big radius, I can do it on that. And then I've got the sanding spindle will go down from I think this 4-inch all the way down to a 1/2 inch. And like that one big dragon that you're seeing, the wings, I could take and kept changing out the size as that wing went out, so I could contour, so I could contour this beveling all the way through, so I had the different size diameters in there to shape it out.
Or you could use a bandsaw to cut them in half to
Yeah.
be smaller.
If I cut them all out of 3/4 material, and then if I want them thinner, I can run it through the bandsaw and knock it down to half or 5/8 or whatever I want thickness before I start shaping it.
So you said like this is an example of the rounding or scooping that you use the drum sander and these are tapered, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
So the bandsaw, are you using two-sided tape or CA?
Pardon?
What are you using to secure your piece to the backer?
I didn't show it because of the picture, but I've just got a push stick that I hold it.
No, how,
against.
how are you securing your piece to that?
It's not secure. I'm pushing it through by hand.
Okay,
Pushing it through with that block in the back.
got it.
And then I got another board that I put in the front, just right here to hold it tight against the brick fence.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out there someday. It's gonna be a mess.
That's it.
So then adding dimension, how do you use sanding and raising shims?
Well, like, this must be one of Judy's patterns, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, you just cut a piece of plywood. She's got that one raised an 1/8 inch and that would stick in here. So you could pop that up on the back, so you get thicker. So you cut the whole thing out 3/4 wood and add the, excuse me, the shims behind it, to get more thickness.
what do you use a sanding shim for?
The sanding shim, if you want, should I see in this piece? I don't see it on this. Well, like, I think these are different pieces here. I use double face tape on plywood. Double face tape it down, and then you can sand it so you get the contour of the whole thing.
Like over the nose
Oh,
and?
yeah, so you get consistency when you shape it round. And then you could just peel it off the double face tape.
Is that a piece waiting to happen?
No, this one, that Katie did, I haven't done this piece at
Oh,
all.
this
This must be one of Judy's that,
Was Judy, it came from Judy's slideshow.
Okay.
So the sanding shim is for rigidity while you're sanding,
Mhm.
to protect the piece.
Yep.
Well, so that you can make it smooth between pieces.
the contour
Several
between this
pieces.
piece and this
You put
piece.
several pieces on one
On-
shim.
So you're not individually doing them, you're putting them all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I double face tape this whole thing down. And then you got this piece, and this piece, you can radius it all at once.
Okay.
Then if I'm assembling it, once I've got it all, where I'm gonna shape it and stuff, I'll take a main piece and I'll double face tape it right to I got Formica tabletop, I tape it right to the Formica tabletop. And that holds the piece, so when you put the next one there, you're not always pushing it across the table. And it helps too then, because you're not trying to fight the pieces, when you got one good fixed piece that you can keep there so it stays nice and tight, so you make sure all your seams are good.
Yeah.
And
This is that weather vane rooster that she had up before, and that's what I call a pallet, right? It's got these masonite sheets, and that was in that rack. And that's why I seal them all with that, Old Masters, gel polyurethane. Each piece gets sealed 3 times before I glue it to the plywood.
3 sides. 3 sides, 3 times.
Yep,
You sand between coats?
nope, you don't have to with that. It's really lays nice and flat.
Well, last month's presenter talked about using holly for the whitewood. I've been looking, holly is not available readily, and it's not big, it's just basically twigs. What other options do you use for whitewood other than whitewashing it or staining or painting it?
Aspen, but I mean, is what I use, even though I put the pickling white on it.
Oh, you pick away.
Yeah,
Okay, but aspen's the best
yeah,
wood for white.
that's what I found.
Okay,
That one dragon, I used, pine on that because aspen virtually has no grain to it. It'll show, excuse me, and, the dragon, I did use pine and whitewashed it and left it real thin. So you could still see the wood grain to add more depth to that dragon.
like water base or oil base?
That's what the pickling white is an oil base. It's the old Masters
Yeah.
pickling weight that I use.
You don't prefer one over the other, it doesn't matter, it's whatever you're looking for, the end result is what you're looking for, is what you have on hand. How do you decide water-based or oil-based? Or is that not even a thought?
No, yeah, I don't, I guess,
Okay.
yeah, to be truthful with you, I don't even think
Sure.
about that part of it, yeah.
Sure.
So you talked about mounting it. And
Yeah, this is actually the one that's over on the table there. This after I had it all sealed and everything, I glued it to the plywood. And then this way you can't see real well, but I had to take, well, I guess, yeah, you can see it here on the bandsaw. I went and cut it as close as I could. And usually it's within a quarter, an eighth that I can get to. And then I got this table I made up with a laminate trimmer. And I just made myself my own base for it so I could set it down into the table. And then what I do is I got it just set just a little higher than what the thickness of plywood is. And then I go route that all off. Route the edges all the way around to get it to where it's all a nice smooth edge with when I'm all done.
And we saw how he stores them. He carried them all in little boxes like that. So, do people call you and ask for orders other than what Mary was talking about?
Yeah, I've had a couple people call back and picked up some stuff. I had a guy that just picked up the buffalo skull that I had made.
I forgot to mention that all the things that John brought today are for sale. Anybody, if you know anybody who wants to buy.
Even
or if
me.
you do,
Yeah.
They're all for sale.
Well, you'll have to let us know when this sale is in August.
Yeah, we'll let Katie, we'll let you know ahead of time as
Yeah.
much as we can, and then, yeah, come on out.
You
I mean,
advertise when you do that, or you just set up a table at the end of the driveway, or?
I just set up in the driveway.
Let's live on a fair-
I'm on the main street, in Rogers, so I get a lot of traffic.
Okay.
And people, he's been out there for
3 years.
Yeah.
so this will be his fourth year. People kind of
They're
watch.
looking.
That's
And,
cool.
Believe it or not, my first sale for the first 3 years have been the same guy.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
yeah, he comes back.
He's coming back. So, when I first got there and walked in their front door, this is what you see. This is the first thing you see, and you see them here. He brought them along. They've got all their projects on their front wall. That's one part of the wall. Another part of the wall. Another part of the wall. And so then I zeroed in and tried to focus on some of the things that I thought was really fun. So we'll go through these. Why don't you talk about them as I go through them? Anything you want to talk about or say or whatever. Stories.
This is the one that Mary was talking about that I had in the shelf for over a year. Other than the dragon.
Okay.
Yeah, I do one section of it and then I kind of slip it out because I was doing other stuff. And so, yeah, I worked on that on and off probably a year and a half on that one. Before I got all done.
Sometimes it makes its way into the house for finishing. He'll set a table up in the living room. And that's where all of this is,
When I did all the mosaic.
all the mosaic stuff. This stuff is applewood branches from a tree we had in the backyard that a kid next door destroyed. And he stained them dark and then he sat there and put them in there while,
So the dark, let's call it black,
yeah.
backdrop is cut pieces, it's not a full piece behind everything?
No, it's all, took my bandsaw and set up and just randomly cut, different heights of,
Yeah.
the apple tree branches. It was dark, but it wasn't quite as dark as I wanted it. Cause I wanted, to keep more contrast. And so then I put them in jars with stain and let them soak in the stain for a couple days. So I had all these different diameters sitting in different trays. And every evening, I'd set up a card table, I'd put it there and I'd take a tweezer, put a spot of glue in there, and till I could fill in all of the black spots. So I probably had it in the house for a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And you're still married?
Be 52 years in October. I was gonna give it 5.
And at our wedding, sister-in-law came up and congratulated us and said, it's a good thing you two got married, so you didn't spoil 2 other people's lives. So that's where it's been ever since.
Well, I kind of fell in love with these. Are they panda bears?
Yeah.
Anything?
Well, our daughter-in-law loves pandas, so then he went on a panda spree.
Yeah.
So, and there is one hanging in her home in Chicago. Matt will eventually probably have that unless it sells.
Yeah.
How many
What?
hours would you say of labor is in that?
Many.
Many. That one, I had the whole head cut out. And then I had it stuffed away in a drawer, and then I found this African Paduk or Plak. And so I scrapped that head and recut the whole thing and then reshaped it from there. Hundreds of hours. I mean, it's just,
Did you sell that piece?
no, I've still got that one at home.
What would you retail
Hangs
that?
above the chair he sits in every day.
That one I'm asking 4,000 for. It's got, that was the one I was saying, it's got 600 pieces in it.
It is awesome. It is awesome.
It's probably about as big as what's on the screen right now.
We have a granddaughter that when he works on everything, she's hooked to his hip, not so much now as she was when she was smaller. But she's the one that he gave her a project. He says, Kayla, count those, see how many pieces. And so she went to it.
But first she said, yeah, really, Grammy. I said, no, I'm serious, count them.
Yeah, that one, Katie is just like me. That-
Oh.
Oh, so you know. Is that the one Liz has?
No, that's.
That is
Mountain
that
Gorilla.
one, okay.
And my daughter loves mountain gorillas, so, but the one she's got is twice that size. That was how big the pattern was. And when I decided I was gonna make another one, because I'd given this one to her, I pulled it out and I, oh my God, I couldn't believe how big that pattern was. So I went up down to the print shop and had them reduce it down to 50%. Because it was so huge.
Did you have a story about the gorilla when he first made it?
Oh, well, this is where my job comes in. And I had it and I go out there and I look and I go. Gorillas don't have flat square arms. You've got to figure out how to shape this so it looks like it's his arm. So we got there.
Yeah, I have her come out and look at the pieces. She gives me a lot of good suggestions of what I gotta shape more.
Mhm,
So with the tree, the trunk,
mhm.
is that one piece of wood that you cut apart to maintain gray match? Or is that just
Yeah,
randomly pieced?
yeah, that's one
It
piece that
starts
I,
as one and then you. put it
separated it out, yeah.
Okay.
they're almost, some of my earlier pieces, so they're all mostly western red cedar.
Is that an orangutan?
Yeah,
Orangutan? Oh, I thought it was a little
Oh,
chip.
chip, yeah.
It's a little chip, yeah.
And the koalas. Yeah, I love koalas.
Does Mary Catherine have a koala? We don't know.
That one's up
Okay.
there. Is that
that's the big one, I think, in the house, isn't it?
No, yeah,
Or
that's
is
the
it
bigger
that
one.
one? Yeah.
I gotta look at the zebra wood I used in
Oh, I love that.
the one bird.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's a word that you can use instead of artistry, but you transcend that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What's the blue background?
That's just some blue stain, just because if I would have went all brown or black, it would have just, washed out so much. So yeah, I got to where I'm starting to use more colors. And I don't think it takes away from the art form at all.
It enhances it.
Yeah.
So the white bellies are basically white pickle,
Yep,
aspen, probably aspen,
aspen, yep.
okay.
Then birch,
Birch for the birds.
yep.
So this is the cattle head.
I didn't know what to call them. What are they?
Those are buffalo skulls.
They're not buffalo skulls.
That's what the pattern says, a buffalo skull.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
We had our house appraised and the guy was out and I thought, don't go out and shop because you'll never leave. So he really, like John was working on, we had one hanging in the house. These have since shown up.
No, I had the one piece I had sold and he saw the picture of it
Okay.
and he wanted one.
Mhm.
And so I said, well, the hardest thing is to get boards with the knot in it. And so I just happened to be at our local Ace and they only carry, 2 or 3 pieces of wood. And I looked and I had a piece of pine there with all these knots. It all came from one piece of pine. And that's why I made that many of them.
So we called him back a month later or so and.
So I got some done for you. Come pick out which size knot you want.
And so I was looking at him and I go, when he gets here, I said, he's gonna pick this one, the one with the biggest knot, because that's what I would have picked first.
Yeah.
Now the rest you can kind of.
And that's what he took.
And that's the one he took, so, yeah. No, if you come to our house and come in the front door and see the wall, or you get out in the shop, just, know you're gonna be around for a while.
We were talking before about the Peruvian walnut, the horns and the feathers that's the Peruvian walnut.
This is one of my favorites.
Where this now is western red cedar, the dark.
For the breeds also.
You can find almost any shade you ever.
Yeah, this one this all western red cedar, aspen and, redwood.
So on this picture here, you got 4, 5. How much is stain versus natural wood, just clear varnish? Do you accentuate anything in your design?
The pickling white.
Yeah.
And the pink and the yellow is stained. Everything else is natural.
He's got pieces that he had made before when he just used western red cedar, and if they're out, they get dark. And so things have been, the paints and the stains and the finishes have improved so much that now, as long as you don't let the sun beat on them, like any piece of art, you get to keep the natural so much better.
Everything will darken up a little bit. Even with the UVA stuff. And this on this pointer, that's actual aspen with no pickling white on it. Even though it's real white, that's how much it'll brown out.
And petroleum-based, oil-based varnish will yellow more than water-based.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep it whiter, keep it water.
Yeah.
Do you would you consider that and put water based on some pieces and oil based on the others, are all the same on one piece?
Yeah, you could do mix and match the two, yeah.
Is that a cat or a bobcat?
Bobcat.
Okay,
I asked the same question.
I lost $1.
I have a friend that has a couple of those, Maine Coon cats. Looks like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
There she is.
Wait a minute, we gotta hear this first.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll go.
This is the first big dragon that I did. That was back. I think I was still using, carbon paper to trace it onto wood at that, because you see how the big gaps in there and stuff. When I did send this picture of this to Judy L. Roberts, and 2 days later I get a phone call back and she said, "I'm done helping you." She was just dumbfounded on how did you cut those pieces so small? If you look a lot at this, I did this one in '89. And if you look at Judy's first patterns from back and then, they were all larger pieces. She was doing everything on a bandsaw. And after that, she switched to scroll saws.
I think that's the piece he was working on when he almost killed me.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
So the webbing is actual wood, not a reveal?
Yeah, it's all natural wood.
That's the same dragon with the slayer in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same dragon, so you've got, the wings are not concave there.
Yeah, the wings are flat on this one. They didn't get them concave. And I pulled the dragon or the knight out of him when I made it. And when I made it larger, and then I made the knight larger too. But I had separated them out, so I get the dragon and the knight.
There is my queen. The
Made that-
dragon queen.
Made that one up for Mary. That's the dragon queen.
You said I couldn't have it.
Say that loud. Tell the
Yeah,
story.
he said, yeah, so I showed him that, I think I showed you that, or you showed me that, and I go, oh, Dragon Queen. I work at a karate school, and so dragons are the thing there. And so I thought, well, yeah, you make that, I could hang it above my desk at work. Yeah, that didn't get to happen because, he said, well, I was gonna sell it, and I thought, okay, well, and, you know, yes, I can have that piece, but if he can sell it, he can sell it. I mean, that's his work, but, yeah. So
It's hanging above her chair right now.
it hangs above my chair. But, yeah, quite beautiful. So that's your first one.
Yeah, back in '90, I got first place at the state fair with that unicorn. And it's all western red cedar aspen. And as you can see, well, that's for the pickling white. So that's how much the aspen washed or faded out. And so when I found the newer woods and stuff, and I remade it here not too long ago again. I got the pickling white on it. I got some yellow heart in there, some Hadouk in there, and some purple heart, and some hard cut redwood in there. Some hard cut popple, which is the green for the leaves. So I remade that piece to get some more color to it. And there was a knight I was talking about that was in that dragon that I pulled out. Made him separate.
Well, I think that's the last slide, but, I enjoyed coming to your house and talking with you so much. I hope everyone here has enjoyed it had as much fun as I did. Thank you.
And yeah, if you're ever in Rogers, stop in.
Yeah.
Their contact information will be in the newsletter.
Well, thank you so much, John. Here's your card for
Membership.
membership.
Oh,
And you can show that and get your discount.
Well, thank you.
And here's a check.
Oh, no, 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 no,
No,
no,
no, no, you take it because we don't hardly pay anything for our rent. So you'll take it. Oh, yes.
No, we don't have to do that for that.
No, no, it's all right.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
You have
That's-
to. Okay, if you
We
love-
came because Katie wanted us. I had to.
Well, we're all here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you know, they always say, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. So I really appreciate the work you've gone through here. It's an absolute expert.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This was a pleasure.
I mean, this is what I made. Now I kind of feel like I got up my game a little bit here. Yeah, but this time it won't be $4,000. Yeah, thank you so much. Come on up and look at things a little bit. I see Tiffany's in the back. Let's go say hello.
Maybe Tiffany, our new.
Yeah, to do that.
Oh, no, it's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank